all of your forwarding and freight shipping needs. We at Trin Forwarding International are committed to product delivery. At Trin Forwarding, we have the much needed experience, professionalism, and due diligence in freight forwarding, shipping, and cargoes. We deliver with timeliness and precision. You can reach out to us at our Caribbean office in Trinidad and Tobago, telephone number 868-624-6250, or our Florida USA office at 305-887-9724.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Interfaith Views and Issues on Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. We are very blessed to have with us on today's program Father Christian Anderson. Welcome to the show, Father Christian.
Great to be here, buddy.
It's a pleasure to have you. You're the expert on the other side. And to our viewers out there, Father Christian is a senior associate rector at St. Mary's Episcopal Church in Stuart, Florida. He has a very interesting background, and maybe before we get into interfaith views and issues, we may want to ask him a little bit about his background, very interesting background before he came into the religious perspective and became a father and a priest, etc. So stay tuned as we continue this conversation with Father Christian Anderson.
Alhikmat Services Florida USA invites you to join our tour from Miami to Turkey, Medina, and Mecca, plus Umrah in Ramadan, from March 1st, 2024 to March 14th, 2024. It will be led by Shaikh Shafayat and the prize is yet to be announced. For more information, please contact Alhikmat office at 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158. You can also email us at alhikmat@alhikmat.com.
In the name of Allah, Lord of all the worlds, there is no God but Him, the living and eternal. Allahu Ya Allahu Ya Allahu, His throne extends.
It's savings and big discounts when you shop at Fens nationwide. Upgrade your home or treat yourself to something special. Enjoy store-wide savings on furniture, appliances, electronics, bedroom, and so much more when you shop at Fens of Marbella, Chagonas, Pinal, and Piaco. Visit us in-store for more information or call 650-FENS, that's 650-3367, or check us out on Facebook, Fens of Trinidad and Tobago, serving generations.
So welcome back to the show, Father Christian.
It's good to be here, and I hope I don't embarrass you, because I know you got quite a good following, and I hope you don't get a lot of mail being like, why did you bring that clown on your show? So
listen, I think people will love it. People will be asking me again and again, get back Father Anderson back on the show, because there are so many different things we can talk about, and I really always wanted to get this going since we came in contact with each other on that famous show you had, a priest and a rabbi, on radio 1450 AM here in South Florida. But before we get into that show and get into your new program, Breaking Bread, that you have, this new program, Lunch and Learn Interfaith series, etc., about the Abrahamic faith, could you share with our viewers, because we got a lot of viewers all over the world. Social media nowadays is, you know what it is, it has the globe much smaller than we thought it was once upon a time, and I'm thinking that people would love to hear a little bit about your background. I remember you telling me something about Las Vegas, am I sure?
Los Angeles.
where you were, where you were from, and your background.
Yeah, I was in Los Angeles before, so I worked as an actor and a producer for 11 years in
So
LA.
tell us a little bit about that. I'd love to know that. I love our viewers would love to know that. And do you know what? I think it's very motivational because it will let some of our young people out there who maybe think that being a movie actor and being in Los Angeles and being in that side of the world is all about what life is. But when they see that you have changed your life and you became a religious person, a father, a priest, etc., I think that can motivate a lot of our viewers and people out there. So tell us about your life, maybe where you were born, how you ended up in Los Angeles, in the Hollywood territory, etc.
Yeah, I was born in Chicago, so a good old blue collar city. Taught me a good work ethic. Chicago is a place where just be a good person and put food on the table, and people for the most part, they will respect you. And then I worked in the theater world there, and then that eventually took me to LA because I wanted to make a decent income. And so I worked there for a while. And while I was working as an actor, at first you got to have a survival job. So I worked in the nightclub industry. So I was living a life of sex, drugs, and rock and roll in there. And all the while really trying to find out how does my faith fit into all this. So my faith kept me out of trouble, but it wasn't like I was an angel. And so there was I wouldn't call it a war. I think one term is like a jihad. There's a struggle going on inside the family. And so at times though, that I would just try to keep an open and honest conversation with God the whole time, saying, God, these temptations are coming. What do I do? So I wouldn't say, I would just admit my weakness to God, and then God would come in and provide strength to get me out of some sticky situations, because there's lots of temptation in LA.
So when you say, I'm going to interact here and there and cut in between so that our viewers out there, when you say something and they're thinking, I will try to ask some of those questions. So you were in the nights, you were in the clubs, in the day you were acting. So like what role did you act? What did you do? I mean, the club is straightforward. We know it's all about sex and drugs, right? Alcohol.
I mean, it's I started to look at it being like, this is sort of like a secular church. I mean, you got the DJ who's like the priest. The people taking things, in the church, we take the sacrament, and they're taking, whether it's alcohol or other drugs, to try to find a salvific moment, try to find kind of salvation. They're escaping a lot of the ups and downs of life. And so I was like, if we could tap into this somehow and bring out the holiness, it just taught me a lot about what people are seeking in life, and why can't the church offer that?
Okay, and in the acting business, what did you do in that territory? What role did you play? What area? What movie? Whatever. What was going on that side there?
It was mostly TV, so sitcoms and soap operas, commercials, infomercials, anything you get your hands on. And then I became more of a live spokesperson too. So companies would fly me out for their big corporate gatherings, and I would be their speaker because I did some commercial work for them, and I showed up on Home Shopping Network and was a host on TV. And so then that led to other companies saying, hey, why don't you come out and be our speaker and represent our product? So there was, it was a lot of fun. I did really, I like being on the move. I like to hustle. So it fit well for me. I don't mind being in front of a group of thousands of people. So all that worked for me. But there was all the while in the midst of all this, there was always this a growing and, let's say, maturing relationship with God.
And that's what I like. I like that you were in that what would I call it? You were in that pinnacle. You were in that height of popularity, famous guy doing commercials and the whole works and all the people and all the lectures, but yet you felt that something was missing. Yet you felt that God was missing in your life. Am I correct? I mean, you correct me. I'm just trying to get this conversation going for those who are listening out there.
Yeah, I think God was always there. I think God can take any situation you're in. And I think if God wanted me to be still in the industry, He'd keep me there to be a God-centered man. But I've always had this relationship with the church. The church has always been very close to me. And I'm still on the journey. been 7 years a priest now, that God is wanting me full time in his church to help build his church and to provide a place for people to find more of him. And so there's enough actors to go around, and there's enough Christian actors to go around to maybe do work so you could be a Christian guy on set, but for me, I think I don't know, maybe God will switch it all up. One thing I've learned is you can't, you playing God last. But I do think he wanted me to go deeper and to give him all of me, because there came a time when I started part-time seminary, and then I started working more than I ever worked as an actor. And I realized I had to go full-time in seminary in order to really do this. And it wasn't a hard decision. That's when I realized my heart had really switched. It's the joy that I got out of studying God and being part of his community in seminary was equal, or if not greater, than the joy I was getting being an actor.
That's a wonderful point you made there, that God was there. Many times we really say that God was missing in my life, but you made a powerful point. God was not missing. God was there in your life, and maybe God was just guiding you along, getting you experience in that whole movie star, lecturing, profession, career, preparing you to come and just lead the church, because they would need someone like you who can be captivating and motivating to the audience and the church. So you would not be one of those father and priests that will put people to sleep. So God was there in your life. I like that point. That makes a lot of sense. And he was just guiding you and preparing you for this great position that you have now.
Yeah, and I realized during that time, though, that when you're in either the nightclub world or you're in the Hollywood business, and a lot of businesses are like this, you're only as good as your last job. You're only as validated as your last job. So as an actor, you might have just worked on a sitcom, but people will say, "What have you done lately?" So my validation and my wholeness came every Sunday, and then came through Bible studies during the week. And so I think that for folks who find that their job is their only source of validation, or their boyfriend or girlfriend is their only source of validation, that is dangerous. That it has to be, for your audience, the mosque, it has to be the community of God, and it has to be God himself, Allah. Like, that is the only place you can go to find your complete validation of who you are. And if it's too much, it's too dependent upon family, it's too dependent upon a significant other, too dependent upon your children, too dependent upon drugs, work, whatever, all that stuff, that is dangerous. And God has to be the center. And then he'll lead you through everything else. I think for me, that I was starting to feel very empty, not because the industry was empty, but because I was needing more. I need to go deeper with God in order to find my true calling and purpose, and really make him the center of all my validation. Because at that point, my only validation came through was I working. And then the times as an actor, sometimes you don't work. And then I would feel depressed and lost, and I go into a place of darkness. That's telling you have to be finding God in the darkness is the key. And if you can't, that's not good. You got to find him more and place him, create a life where he is always at the center.
That's interesting. Well, Father Christian Anderson, we want to go on a short break for now. And when we come back, we'd love to hear how that turn took place in your life. What really caused it, how it happened. You were telling us why it happened, but now what really happened? What incident took place? How did you start off? How did you get into this whole, from the club, from being an actor to being a priest? All right. So when we come back, we wanna let our viewers know a little bit about that experience of yours. So to all of you out there, stay tuned. When we come back, we will continue this conversation with Father Christian Anderson from St. Mary's Episcopal Church. Love to say this, from an actor to a priest. When we come back, we'll continue that conversation, inshallah, God willing.
South Florida Umrah, November 23rd to December 3rd, 2023, led by Shaikh Shafayat, Imam Azhar Subidar, and Imam Zaid Sharif. 2 persons per room cost $29.95, 3 persons per room cost $28.50, and 4 persons per room are $26.96. Flights are Miami to Medina and Jeddah to Miami. Accommodations are Medina 4 nights and Mecca 4 nights. Spots are limited, so it is on a first-come, first-served basis. For details and to register, please visit www.meaningfulhajj.com/SoFloUmrah. For more information, please contact Alhikmat office at 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158. Juma's Glass Supplies, specialized in French doors, windows, aquariums, puttywork, and more. 45 Garth Road, Princestown. For more information, please call at 1-868-736-6204. That is 1-868-736-6204. Or message on WhatsApp at 1-868-272-2302. Again, 1-868-272-2302. Or email at jumasglass73@gmail.com. Dawah and Interfaith Institute presents for the first time in USA Dawah and Interfaith training with education in world religions from religious professors and spiritual leaders of different faiths. This is a 6-month weekend course designed for brothers and sisters local, national, and international who are seeking to learn the importance of Dawah and better understanding of faith and cultures. For more information, please contact 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158. You can also contact via email at alhikmat@alhikmat.com or visit our website www.alhikmat.com. Casa Nouveau Investments. Sharia Bacchus, CEO of Casa Nouveau Investments. Brokering of sales and rentals, commercial properties, industrial properties, residential properties, and land. Property management, property development, interior design, and real estate investment consultancy. Please message or text at 1-954-326-9537 or 592-643-5948. You can also email at shariabacchus3@gmail.com.
Assalamu alaikum. Allah gives hikmat, wisdom, to whomsoever He wills. And whomsoever is given wisdom is certainly given a lot of good. Only the people of understanding will benefit from the reminder. Tune in to Alhikmat TV for khutbahs, lectures, and Islamic reminders. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
In the Quran, in chapter 5, verse 67, Allah tells the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Ya ayyuhar Rasul, balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik, wa illam taf'al, fama balagta risalatahu. Very deep. Allah tells the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to spread the message of the Quran. And he told the Prophet, and if you do not spread the message, you did not fulfill the mission of the messenger. So you and I are followers of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If we can afford one Quran, help us join in distributing the Quran. So if you can't afford one Quran, do it. $3. 10 Quran, $30. 100 Quran, $300.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Interfaith Views and Issues on Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. It is really a blessing to have with us in today's show Father Christian Anderson. Father Christian Anderson is the Senior Associate Rector at St. Mary's Episcopal Church in Stuart, Florida. So welcome back to the show, Father Christian.
Shukran. Thank you for having me back.
A wonderful one. As you mentioned, shukran. As we get down in the program, I want to ask you about that experience you had with hearing the name Allah. I remember you mentioned that in one of your journey or your trips when people were calling God Allah, if I'm correct, on something, somewhere you went. I heard you speak about that when I came to your church last year. So, I hope I'm correct, but we'll get to that. Tell us.
I'm part Lebanese, so I'm familiar. I'm part Lebanese, and I've been to Lebanon, so I'm familiar with
Yes, something you had said that you went and heard people Christians were calling God
when I go to a Lebanese church. When you go to a Lebanese church, they refer to God as Allah.
Christian church you're talking about?
A Lebanese church.
Excellent. And they are
Yeah.
calling their God Allah
Yeah, that's right.
in Arabic.
That's right.
So then, why do some people here in America, when they hear the word Allah, they think it means some kind of terrorist thing? What is that about?
Education or lack of. It's just
I
a lack
love
of
that. I love that. That makes, I mean, hearing it from you, I mean, people hear the word Allah, they think it's the name of somebody, the name. People still talk about Allah is the name of a sun god and a moon god. But here you have heard in a Christian church in Lebanon, they call God Allah. So, I mean, so you're right. People in America needs to be educated. The people in the world need to be educated to understand that Allah is an Arabic word which means al-the, la means none like him. So that's why in the Lebanese church they would say the God, the none like him. That's
Yeah, I
interesting.
assume in probably any Arabic Christian church they would, but my only experience is just in the Maronite church, which is the Lebanese Catholic church, and then also one of my dear friends is a Lebanese priest, and so when I went to Beirut to visit him, I experienced, familiarizing myself with how the Lebanese church operates, and Allah was a part of it, the terminology.
I mean, hearing it from you as a father, a priest, that is authenticity. That is right there on nailing it on the point, because I always have that problem trying to explain to people what Allah means, and people are like thinking it's the name of some Muslim god, not knowing that Christians in some countries call God Allah because that's the Arabic word for God.
Yeah, plain and simple. And the beauty is, and I think, I know we're going to talk about this later, the Breaking Bread series, that's what we're trying to get across, is that we're all from Abraham. We're all Abrahamic people. And so we have for Interfaith, who are Jews, Christians, and Muslims, have a huge advantage to us because we share in following from the branch of Abraham and from Allah. And so we can really work that and milk that. And that's what I'm eager to do with you. I know you'll be visiting us, and with Rabbi Durbin, because it's just a part of it, just education, and we can look to the scripture for it.
Definitely. So before we get into that part in details, tell us, how did this whole flip or turn took place with you from the club, from the filming industry? What happened and it turned your life to be a priest?
Well, so as I said, I was doing seminary part-time, and I was trying to kind of have my cake and eat it too. So I was going to go seminary part-time and still act as an actor. And so I was doing that, and I was starting to work a lot more as an actor. And it was helping me pay for seminary. And then at a certain point, seminary really started to pick up steam. And then I realized that I needed to go full-time. But if I went full-time, I couldn't pay for it because my acting was paying for my seminary. So then I got an offer for a scholarship for an Episcopal seminary outside Washington, D.C., called Virginia Theological Seminary. And so leaving LA I was so scared to leave LA because I thought that I'd be leaving behind the industry. And I had this vision that I would be a working actor while being a priest. And so I'd be what they call a bivocational priest. Then I make my money as an actor, and then I serve at a church as well. And then God, though, and this is a testimony to really sometimes God is pushing you somewhere and you don't like it. Sometimes say if it feels good, if it feels right, then that's the way to go. That's not true. That many times in scripture, God will kick you and push you. The Spirit will disrupt your life and you're not going to like it. But if you can sense in your heart that it's God pushing you, then all will be well. Maybe not in that moment, but all will be well. And that's what God did. I was very anxious. I would say I went into a slight depression because I was very scared to leave. LA was everything that I knew and everything that made me feel real and excited. And I loved the seminary I was at in Los Angeles. But in my gut, I just had the sense you got to go to Virginia. So fortunately, I surrounded myself with a lot of wise people, and that's another thing I would recommend. Make sure you have a good team of people you really trust around you. I don't care if it's a therapist, family, friends, people will speak truth into you, a pastor. And through that, I was able to say, I'm going to go. And it just clicked over that it's Christian, you just got to trust. And I made peace with it, and I drove out. and everything. I never looked back, you know. And so, and there's been opportunities for me to return back to Los Angeles to work as a priest, and it just hasn't made sense because I can just feel that God is saying, stay where you are. I got work for you to do. And so you just, sometimes it doesn't feel good, but feelings are just feelings. You know, facts are facts. And if the fact is God is calling you, trust that and God will provide.
I like that. I like that. So I want to make a little joke out of that, but I mean, we could take, we could make that joke. So I love that. The God really chose you. God chose you. So while you were in the club and while you were in the acting business, you were in the seminary. So maybe God had a way of letting you use the devil's money from from the club and the acting to make you a priest. I mean, that is so wonderful. You know, God can use the devil to get you on the right path. What I'm saying here is that, you know, I mean, think about it. You were so blessed. God chose you in the seminary, but here you were getting the experience out in the club and the movie industry. And at that point, the income from that helped pay your bills on this side and just brought you totally over. So that's a clear point to let us know we really don't know the plans of God, how He makes things happen for us and He prepares us, and He just can use any such thing that while we may think that we are drowning, we don't even realize that's the tunnel to success. That's the
as long as you can trust. I mean, I didn't know any better, so I mean, I knew that there was some pretty sticky situations, conscious, like from a moral standpoint. And there was a time I had to quit the club because it was no longer could I try to have both worlds. I could no longer keep my Christian values while working in the club. And then God threw me out of there too. So a huge, horrible fight broke out. I asked Him for a sign. I said, God, if you don't want me to work in the nightclub anymore, I feel like I make all my money here. But if you don't want me to work here, I'll trust you. And then this horrendous fight, like brutal. Someone had a gun in a club. It was bad. And I said, I got the sign. So it gave me courage to quit. And then I made more money as an actor than I ever made. God was saying, will you stop? You don't have to work there anymore. I got you covered. You'll make it legitimately as an artist. And so then I worked that for a while. And then finally God said, now I got other plans for you. Now I need to kick you out of LA and get you to Virginia so you can study my word and become a priest. And so, at least in my experience, He tends to, because I'm pretty stubborn and ignorant, and so God will. But I know when God's kicking me and saying, "Just trust me and go. Stop overthinking it. Just go and trust me."
I love that. I love that. So, from the seminary in Virginia, how did you end up here in Florida?
The church I serve right now is a hybrid church that has a very traditional way of doing church, also a very contemporary way of doing church. And this is from a worship standpoint. There's not many of those kinds of Episcopal churches. So this church tried to call my friend, who has a set of skills similar to mine, who likes doing both, because there's not many priests who like both. They usually just like the traditional. And then he said, I can't take the job because I'm starting a church out in Baltimore. So he said, but I know this guy fit the bill. And so then they reached out to me. I was in Ecuador at the time, serving a church, and I got on a Zoom like you and I are right now. And I just could sense that God was saying, trust me and just go. I never thought I'd return to Florida. I didn't like Florida. I didn't want to be in Florida. I want to go back to Los Angeles. And God, again, was saying, just trust me. Everything will be well. I was like, okay, this feels like it's going to be right. And I feel like this is where I need to go. The guy who's interviewing me seemed like a wonderful mentor, which he turned out to be. And he helped me step into, hopefully was now a mature priest, but I know I got a lot of years to go to learn more.
That is so interesting. He just made your journey. You have a journey like Joseph, man. Joseph in the Bible just had things happening. You wondering where you are, and then not knowing that every different place, every different position was an opening to a greater position. Wow, that's how God works in our lives nowadays. So, Father Anderson, we got to go again on a short break. Time just goes. You got an interesting life story here. I mean, I don't know if you did a book on your life. That's going to be a bestseller, from a movie actor to a priest. I mean, let me know. We'll help sell that book for you. But we got to go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue a little bit on your activities. I want to talk a little bit about that a priest and a rabbi, what made you do that show and what you're doing right now, Breaking Bread, Lunch and Learn Interfaith series. Let's talk a little bit about that, what else you have in your vision on interfaith issues. All right, so to our viewers out there, stay tuned. When we come back, we will continue this conversation with Father Christian, who is the Senior Associate Rector at St. Mary's Episcopal Church here in Stuart, Florida. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum. Allah gives hikmat, wisdom, to whomsoever He wills. And whomsoever is given wisdom is certainly given a lot of good. Only the people of understanding will benefit from the reminder. Tune in to Alhikmat TV for khutbahs, lectures, and Islamic reminders. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
In the Quran, in chapter 5, verse 67, Allah tells the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Ya ayyuhar Rasul, balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik, wa illam taf'al, fama balagta risalatahu. Very deep. Allah tells the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to spread the message of the Quran. And he told the Prophet, and if you do not spread the message, you did not fulfill the mission of the messenger. So you and I are followers of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If we can afford one Quran, help us join in distributing the Quran. So if you can't afford one Quran, do it. $3. 10 Quran, $30. 100 Quran, $300.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Interfaith Views and Issues on Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. Once more, it is a blessing to have with us on today's show Father Christian Anderson, who is the Senior Associate Rector at St. Mary's Episcopal Church in Stuart, Florida. And I know we have spoken about some of his activities, from the club to the movie to being a priest. Now we want to talk a little bit about some of his interfaith activities and his other activities, because when I checked his bio, we see that he and his wife have created a YouTube channel called Christian and Anastasia with 76,000 subscribers, and an Instagram channel with over 110,000 followers. Wow, interesting, that celebrate culture, faith, and family. Wonderful. That's a big achievement, Father Anderson. Wonderful. So let us know, before we get into this YouTube and all these activities that you have going on, tell us what motivated you to start that program called A Priest and a Rabbi. I think that was so interesting, so wonderful. That sounds so very, very motivating. I mean, I was very blessed to be part of one or two of the shows that you all had. Tell us, what motivated you to do it and what's going on?
Well, it's great to have you on the show, and those were probably some of the most popular episodes, by the way. Myself, probably I grew up in Chicago, lived down in LA. Culture has always been extremely enticing to me, to learn more about other folks. And so it just made sense that as a religious person as well, I've always been curious to learn more about all the different ways that God's word has been communicated to the people. So therefore, as an American, you see one of the other two big religions is Islam and Judaism. I'm sure there's other religions, but Islam and Judaism is the big one. And having Muslim friends and Jewish friends. So it just made sense then, with doing radio before. I've never done a podcast. And the biggest key was meeting the rabbi. And the rabbi, we're the same age. We're similar in some ways. And we don't mind talking about these topics, and we don't mind speaking truth about them. So we're not going to try to pretend that we're all alike, or we're not going to try to pretend that we're just this. It's all the same mountaintop, and we're just taking a different path to get there. And we understand that there's part of Christianity that says some pretty stern words about following Christ, and he has some words about being a Jew and about Jesus's not true. So we understand that we respect each other and we love each other. So the most important part is that we have this great friendship and relationship. Let's put this on air, and hopefully we can break down some barriers when we do it. We'll talk about scripture, we'll talk about word, we'll talk about anti-Semitism, we'll talk about faith, and we'll talk about where we differ, and that it's okay to have very different views sometimes on God and still keep relationship and respect and love for each other, because that's what we think God would want us to do. And I think the word would show that too. Scripture would say that.
I think maybe we should get our rabbi friend. Why don't we get him on this show, and let's have a show with three of us? That might be interesting, and we can have it on our television program and have it played and have Muslim, Christian, Jews all over look at it, because we do have a lot of non-Muslim viewers. This also goes out to a lot of non-Muslim interfaith people around the world that we send our clips to, and YouTube clips, etc., that our social media team do. Yeah, that will be wonderful. So maybe you should talk to Rabbi, and let's one day we schedule a program.
Oh, he's in. I'll speak for him. He'll do it. He's in. Just as long as it's not on the Sabbath, he's fine. So, you know,
okay.
We got 3 different Sabbaths between the 3 of us, so that only leaves us, 4 other days to make this happen.
So then we use a Tuesday. It doesn't have to be Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So
can you imagine being an employer in the Holy Land if you have like an interfaith staff that you got all these people, some are Christians, some are Jews, some are Muslims? Like, how do you staff your restaurant if you have a restaurant where you're open to all 3 religions? That would be a nightmare to staff your business in the Holy Land.
You're right. You're totally right. That's gonna be that's good. So what has happened to the show, Father?
Well, it kind of ran its race, and then we started doing live stuff, which you came to a live event where people would come in and have some food and listen to us live in person. And that really seemed like to have just more bang for its buck. Just more folks would show up. We could see them. We could interact with them. We could take our communities, like his synagogue or temple is not far from our church. Now our communities are gathering together. They're eating together. They're asking questions to us in the moment together. And it just grew and grew. So we were attracting, this last time out, we were attracting 165 people per event. And then we're like, okay, we don't know how many people we're hitting online because we just couldn't track it that well. And I don't know who I'm talking to. So it just seemed like it ran its race. Now let's put the people who are supporting this, the money, say, can you support food? Can you support other things that allow us to bring our communities together? And that has been for the sake of developing a beloved community, as Martin Luther King would say. You need to get people together, learning about one another, hanging out together, seeing that your Jewish friend is no different than you. And then, unfortunately, we don't have a neighboring mosque. But that's where we will at least want to bring you up for a couple, because then it's not often they're breaking bread with a Muslim. And you get someone like you who's definitely an activist for interfaith work, that will be very powerful for people because it'll break down a lot of barriers.
Right. That is so interesting. I think we should have one of that down in our territory. What do you think?
Yeah, it'd be wonderful. Yeah, actually,
we could host one,
man. Huh? Last time we did this, you said it was going to be at your place, and then you never called us. So we've been sitting around waiting, man.
Oh my God, you gotta forgive me for that. No. We'll have to make up for that.
Hey man, you are a busy man, and you're all the way down in Miami, and you're out there saving souls. So I get it. You're an imam who teaches imams. You got a full plate.
Yeah. I know it keeps us busy, but I would love to do that. We're gonna do it. And you make so much sense, because by doing it the way you are doing with a live audience, then you send it online. So you kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You got a live audience. You got it going out there online after. People can check it out. Superb. So definitely we're going to have that down on this side, a priest, a rabbi, and an imam, and we'll record it. We'll make a short of it, and I think that will go fantastic.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
That would be, you're right, and I love this. So you have changed that, a priest and a rabbi, to now Lunch and Learn Interfaith series, right?
Yeah, it would be like a priest and a rabbi Lunch and Learn series with a certain topic. Like the last time we talked about Moses versus Jesus. That had a good turnout. We talked about what happens after death, what is sin. And so we have a moderator, and then she presents what does Jewish scripture say, Hebrew scripture, what does Christian scripture say, where are the comparisons, where is it different, and then we go from there. So people are interested in sin, people are interested in death for sure, and then now we're hoping, since everyone loves food, that this next one, which is breaking bread, what does the word say about eating with the other? And so we're going to examine, and I don't know really much what the Quran says, so that's why we're going to bring in you, and then we're going to talk about that, because there's a lot of stuff that happens in Hebrew scripture and Christian scripture that says, yeah, I formed you and I made you my people, and you also need to take care of the foreigner and the alien like you have been cared for. But we've denied that a lot. We've become so tribal as people, as human beings. That's just our nature. I learned that in the nightclub world.
Yeah.
We like to be tribal. So we still will deny the alien, deny the foreigner. We will deny the sinner, when, at least as Christians, it's just Jesus dined with sinners and wanted them for their lives to be transformed. But that's who we went to first, was them. So we're hoping we can come to a place where we all agree on, which is food, and then we go from there and start to learn about each other.
Excellent. And I think we can also do a couple of programs on Abraham from the Jewish, Christian, Muslim perspective. We could talk about Moses from the Jewish, Christian, Muslim perspective. The areas of commonalities, we could do that. We could even get into Jesus, peace be upon him, from the Jewish, Christian, Muslim perspective. I think that'll be very, very, very educational. People need to understand the Christian perspective, the Muslim perspective, the Jewish perspective, because that's the real world that we live in too, and they need to be educated on what's the educational understanding of Jesus. I think, as you rightly said, at some time, people just get together, when there is a disaster and a calamity, interfaith groups get together, but we don't really educate ourselves about each other. And if we really educate ourselves about each other, we will better understand each other, and we will have a better relationship with each other, because we'll know what are our proper beliefs and understanding. And our beliefs and understanding, they were not designed for us to detest each other. They were designed for us to better know each other, live together. That's how God wanted us to live here in this world. So those might be some topics: Abraham, Moses, Jesus, peace be upon them. They are more the popular names you hear. You see what I'm saying? From the Christian, Muslim, Jewish perspective. What else would you like to share to our viewers? We got about 3 minutes again. Time is just going here. We got 3 minutes again. Our TV director here told us we got 3 extra minutes, so you tell us, you share with our audience what you would like to share, what you would like to see, what maybe you would like to see in the interfaith world, or what we can do, or whatever, to make a better world.
Well, I think that there is a huge opportunity for Islam in this, because Islam is the one religion of the 3 that actually recognizes people in the Jewish scripture and the Christian scripture. So there's in your walk, you do recognize the Gospels, you do recognize Jesus, you do recognize the prophets, you recognize all these folks that Jews and Christians do. I mean, a lot of Jews would say they recognize Jesus maybe as a prophet, but they'll definitely say if he existed, he was a rabbi who was a good guy, probably a Pharisee. And so Islam, and someone like you who's so well read and not afraid of these conversations, you don't find it as threatening to your own faith. You can speak to all 3, and you have such an interesting background as well, experience with these religions, that because Christianity, we can speak easily with Jews because we celebrate the Jewish scripture, and Jesus was born a Jew, circumcised a Jew, and died a Jew. So when Christians are anti-Semitic or pushing Jews away, I'm sorry, they've completely missed the boat, because news alert, Jesus was a Jew. So if you're not partnering with Jews, then you're missing out on the context of who Jesus was, because everything he did was through the eyes of a Jew. And so now for Islam is studying and looking at everything as well. It recognizes all of it. And so I think there's some great bounty there for us to feast into, and to kind of turn the narrative of how folks definitely in the States and in the West view Islam. Sometimes it's just been really unfortunately placed as an enemy, or someone who doesn't like Jews or Christians. But you, my friend, are doing an invaluable ministry. It's saying that that's certainly not the truth. We definitely need to learn more about the Quran. There's a lot of myths about the Quran that need to be busted. And so I think as a Christian, that's what I would love to see more of, is how do we continue to engage with one another so they just see us as fellow brothers in Abraham. And then we can unite more once we get through all that and do all the good work that God wants us to do, which is to care for the orphan, care for the widow, care for the prisoner, and create more peace in this world, and lessen people's violent reaction to each other.
That is so wonderful, Father Anderson. It's really, really wonderful. And as you rightly said again, I think those are some of the areas. For example, we can make Ishmael a topic from the Jewish, Christian, Muslim perspective, because there is a bond. The Bible, the Torah speaks about Ishmael, the Quran speaks about Ishmael. So we can discuss all these things, all these issues and topics from a very educational point of view, the Jewish perspective of Ishmael, the Christian perspective. And I think we can educate the world. I would really love to pray on this, and I'm going to pray on this. In addition to doing a show here with Rabbi and yourself and me, I would really love us. I know it's far for you to come from up there to down here, but if we can work a schedule out, we can do something maybe once a month down here. You do it. How many times do you do it up on your side? Every week?
No, we pick seasons. So we'll say twice a year that we get together for these 4-part sessions, 5-part sessions. We do that twice a year.
Okay,
and then,
we can do twice down here also. I don't see a problem with that. And,
yeah, man.
And you get I see when you do it by the church up there, you'll get a big Christian Jewish audience. We do it down here, we'll get a bigger Muslim audience because of the Muslim population down here. And we will invite other Christians and Jews and churches around to come by. So we will have a percentage of Christians and Jews in the audience, but that will be a nice thing. You'll have a majority Muslim audience here. In your church, you'll have a majority of Christian Jewish audience. So we will get the balance effect of all, and we can share the recordings and the videos. We'll record it down here. You record it up there, and we can reach out to the world, Father Christian. We can reach out to the world sitting right here in Florida. And that might be the next plan that God had for us, knowing each other. See how you came from the club to the acting and the movie to the father and the priest? Well, maybe that's how God planned it for two of us to know each other and the rabbi, and now we can do some wonders. I think we need to do that. And why I like talking to you, because you got to accept this, there are some hardcore Christians and some hardcore Jews or rabbis or fathers, and there are some hardcore imams who will not want to get in those conversations. They might just think it's a waste of time. They don't have the time. But I think we are in this era, and we are in this time when we have that sort of modus operandi. Now we love to talk about these things and educate the people. So we should do it. We should really do it.
Yep. I think God shines on it. And here's the key. It's not because we're just trying to just put a smile on everything. It makes us better people of faith. I am a better Christian and follower of Christ when I'm in a relationship with the rabbi and the Jewish temple. And I know for sure I'll become a better Christian follower of Christ when I come in relationship with you and your community, because we follow a God of compassion and love and mercy. Not a God of being a jerk and judge. With God judges, we don't have to worry about that part. Our way of God is a way of love, and if we can't love, then we can't find God.
Excellent. And we worship the same God that Jesus prayed to, and the same God that Moses prayed to, and the same God of Abraham. So we got one bond. We got a strong bond. So thank you very much. What would you like to say in a couple of seconds as we conclude the show, Father Christian?
You can find more of my family and I on Christian and Anastasia. That you can find that on all platforms. So we got a pretty lively YouTube channel and Instagram, and you can see how we explore family, faith, and fun really together.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So to our viewers out there, we really thank God for blessing us with Father Christian Anderson on this show today. It was really a blessing talking to him. I'm sure that you have been motivated from his background and where he came from and what he does and what God has chosen him to do. And it's a pleasure to have you viewers from all over the world viewing interfaith views and issues on Alhikmat TV, and always stay tuned to Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Before we close, Father Anderson, you were trying to say that. You want to try to say it?
I can do the first part.
I'll give you a little thing again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Wonderful. You did fine. Listen, 2 or 3 times you will have it 100%. It all means the peace and blessings of God be unto you, the mercy of God be unto you, and the blessings of God be unto you. And we wish everyone that throughout the world, all over. Thank you very much again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Unlock the love of Islam in your children and open their imagination and hearts. Muslim Kids TV brings together thousands of the best animations, videos, games, ebooks, and Islamic resources for you and your family.
I am a Muslim. I am a Muslim. Let's go. I am a Muslim. Look at me. I am kind to
Enjoy the best Islamic children's animations and videos exclusively on www.muslimkids.tv.
I am a Muslim, look at me. I am a Muslim. I am a Muslim. I am a Muslim. I am a Muslim.
Stimulate your child's learning with the largest collection of Islamic-themed video games.
Ramadan has come and gone. Eid has dawned upon us. Thank you, Allah, for this blessing.
Thousands of ebooks celebrating the Islamic history, culture, and values.
Thank you, Allah, for this blessed day. Eidun Sa'idun, Yawmun Farhanun, Yawmun.
Unleash your child's creativity through endless hours of to-do-it-yourself activities.
Yawmun Jamilun, Yawmun Farhanun, Eidun Sa'id, all over the world.
Keep the Quran close to their hearts with our special Quran app.
It's a time of brotherhood, a time of peace. Muslims are singing praises to Allah. Allahu Akbar, Allah.
Muslim Kids TV is developed by leading educators and supervised by a community of religious scholars from around the world.
Al-Fitr, can you think of anything neater than parties in the streets, hugging friends and so much to eat? The food's much sweeter now that Ramadan's completed.
Loved by families, educators, and especially children.
Come celebrate Eid with me, with me. It's time to have a big party. Wear nice clothes and eat some.
Muslim Kids TV is available where you want it and when. Enjoyed on mobile, web, and on leading smart TV brands. Your whole family can watch anytime, anywhere. Muslim Kids TV, building a better Muslim generation.
Get everything you need at Fenn's Agri Center and Hardware Superstore, located at 243 Southern Main Road, Marabella. We carry a wide selection of hardware and agri products. Visit us in-store or call 650-3367.
Alhikmat Services Florida USA invites you to join our tour from Miami to Turkey, Medina, and Mecca, plus Umrah in Ramadan, from March 1st, 2024 to March 14th, 2024. It will be led by Shaikh Shafayat and the prize is yet to be announced. For more information, please contact Alhikmat office at 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158. You can also email us at alhikmat@alhikmat.com. Casa Nuevo Investments, Sharia Bacchus, CEO of Casa Nuevo Investments, brokering of sales and rentals, commercial properties, industrial properties, residential properties, and land, property management, property development, interior design, and real estate investment consultancy. Please message or text at 1-954-326-9537 or 592-643-5948. You can also email at shariabacchus3@gmail.com. Dawah and Interfaith Institute presents for the first time in U.S.A. Dawah and Interfaith training with education in world religions from religious professors and spiritual leaders of different faiths. This is a 6-month weekend course designed for brothers and sisters local, national, and international who are seeking to learn the importance of Dawah and better understanding of faith and cultures. For more information, please contact 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158. You can also contact via email at alhikmat@alhikmat.com or visit our website www.alhikmat.com. Linda M. Kaplan, PA, an immigration law firm. Over 40 years of legal services in immigration and naturalization matters. Contact her at 305-670-7665. Once again, 305-670-7665, or email her at lk@lindakaplan.com or visit her website lindakaplan.com. You can also contact for more details the Alhikmat office at 954-986-0158 or 1-800-804-0267. You can also reach out to them via email at alhikmat@alhikmat.com, the website www.alhikmat.com, and visit the Alhikmat TV www.alhikmattv.com.
In the name of Allah, Lord of all the worlds, there is no God but Him, the living and eternal. Allahu ya Allahu ya Allahu. His throne.
Juma's Glass Supplies, specialized in French doors, windows, aquariums, puttywork, and more. 45 Garth Road, Princestown. For more information, please call at 1-868-736-6204. That is 1-868-736-6204. Or message on WhatsApp at 1-868-272-2302. Again, 1-868-272-2302. Or email at jumasglass73@gmail.com.